Take two once again. Hopefully I can see you all this time. Working with these third-party software. All right. So let's just take a look at what we're going to be talking about today. Conversational communication. All right. Conversational communication is today's topic. And I am glad that you are joining me today. And if you all are listening later on the podcast, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. And yes, now I'm able to see your comments on the page. So for those of you who are also trying to tune in a little bit later, you can go back and watch the replay on facebook.com/DrCharityTV page. That's facebook.com/DrCharityTV page. And again, I am excited and grateful that you all are joining me today. So what are we talking about when we say conversational communication? Like, what is that about? What is conversational communication? Okay. And for those of you who are taking notes, because I know it's like later in the evening and you're still, you're faithful with taking notes. Thank you for that. First of all, we're talking about conversational communication because we are very attached and accustomed to our digital communication lives. Like, we live in the 21st century where everything is like straight tech, right? It's just digital. And so we tend to build our relationships digitally. We tend to build our jobs are now digital. Just so many things that are like virtual, just digital. Well, today we want to focus on going from just only being digital with our communication, but also making sure that human interaction, that face-to-face, that conversation isn't lost in our technological advancement. So that's what we're talking about a little bit today when we are speaking about conversational communication. So first thing, and hello to those of you who are tuning in live. Hello once again. First thing I do want to say about conversational communication is that there is a difference between speaking and conversing. I hear people often say, well, I mean, I talk to you all the time, or if they're speaking in relation to their customer, or they're speaking in relation to their significant other, they're like, well, I'm always communicating with them, or I'm always talking to them. And you have to understand that there is a significant difference between speaking and conversing. Okay. First of all, speaking is just where you're using learned words and expression. Okay. You were just hey Kelia, you were just putting together words that you learn, or expressions like, oh, well, that's, yeah. Or one thing when someone is like, you're having a conversation with them and they're using a lot of fillers. They're like, yeah, You are not actively listening. You're just making sure that there's some type of response, right? Some type of response there, so it will appease the person speaking to make it feel like you're actually paying attention. So there's a difference between speaking, using those learned words or sounds and expressions, and conversing. Okay, conversing is an exchange. Okay, conversing is an exchange. It's a give and take with each participant, showing interest in, number one, the content. I'm interested in what we're talking about, or I'm interested in what you're saying to me. I'm interested in what I'm listening to. Or, and then also number two, you're interested in the participant. Okay. You're interested in what the other person is saying. And I mean, that's showing the person, excuse me, I don't know what's going on with my voice. Excuse me. That's showing the person that, hey, I'm here in the now, I'm conversing. I'm not just, listening or speaking, and there is a difference we're going to talk about in just a second. But you got to understand there is a difference between like when you're just speaking or when someone say you're talking at me instead of talking to me. There's a difference when we are speaking and when we are talking as opposed to conversing. Speaking and talking is like it's just a one-man show. Speaking like right now, obviously I'm not conversing with you because, there's not really a give and take exchange. So can you imagine having a conversation with someone and you're just like, they're just like this tripod and you're just speaking, talking, and there's no conversation. So understanding that there is a difference between speaking and conversing, and what those entail, as I just shared with you a few moments ago. Now, the next thing that I want you to know is that there is a difference, honey, between listening and responding. Okay? There is a difference between listening and responding. And for all of my international students and past students that have been watching these communication shows, thank you so much. It is know that you are still interested in learning how to be effective communicators. Now, for Americans, anyone who's watching this and you're like, oh, I don't need to know how to, communicate effectively. I'm good. I speak English. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. This content is not for you, but it is for those who are interested in improving their communication techniques and tactics and strategies, because that's what we do when we are trying to be better communicators. So here, listening and responding, they're two different things. Okay, two different things. Listening is when we're like truly trying to hear or gain an understanding and pay attention to what the person is saying. Listening is not the same as just listening to respond, okay? It's not the same as just listening to respond. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone and you're trying to talk to them? You're trying to talk to them about an issue that you have going on, or maybe it's not even an issue. Tell them a story, and they automatically they just interrupt you, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I seen da 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 da," and you're just like, "Okay, but did you even were you paying attention to what I was saying?" Because it looked like as soon as I was getting ready to tell you what I'm saying, you just jump straight into conversation with your portion. It's not your turn yet. You have to wait your turn. Or if you're, say if you are, I will tell you, leaders, to all my leaders, and I'm a leader as well, so that's why I love talking with my leaders. Leaders, when you have people, and leaders can be anyone from a therapist to a teacher, that's us, on any level, university lecturer, whatever. You have students that come to you, preachers, pastors, spiritual mentors, whatever. If someone comes to you to talk to you, let them talk. When my students come to me, even though it's sometimes unbearable, when my students come and they talk to me, I have to sit and actually listen. Not listen and prepare a response, because sometimes the response that you are preparing in your mind to share doesn't even solve the problem. It doesn't solve the issue, or it doesn't give any comfort. Let's see. I'm taking a pause real quick. Hey, Kelia. Kelia says, I can always grow in that area. I have to literally catch myself doing that. Listen. Listen, I'm telling you, when we listen and we are already in our heads oh, they're looking for an answer, let me go ahead and prepare a response. Automatically you stop paying attention to what the person is trying to share with you. I have people that I love and that I really care about, and when I'm going through an issue, I will talk to them, and I can tell when they have actually been listening to what I've been sharing, or when they've been listening just to prepare a response, because then they start talking about their own issues, or they start talking about, things that they have going on. And I'm like, what? Okay, but did you even hear what I was saying? And I have to catch myself with doing that too, especially with my students, and especially with people when, if you're a mentor and you have mentees and they come to you and they talk to you, and they're trying to get life lessons from you, and you're already preparing a story to tell them based on a situation that resembles what they're going through, it's like, wait, let them finish talking. Because listening, when you listen to understand, you actually learn something. And I apologize to all of you, especially my fellow leaders and colleagues who feel like there's nothing else that I can learn. Wrong. Wrong. You can always learn something more simply by listening. But you have to, this is what we call active listening, okay? So you have to make sure that you are listening to learn, to pay attention, to actually tune into what the person is saying, to what the participant is saying, as opposed to listening to respond. If there are any people, maybe you're in a relationship or maybe you're married and you're trying to have a conversation with your spouse or your significant other, and automatically, like, it seems like they're not paying attention, because either sometimes they're not even speaking to you, like they're like demanding, like they're barking orders at you, right? Well, if someone is trying to tell you what to do instead of having a conversation with you, that does automatically turn some people off, and they no longer pay attention. They hear you, but they're not listening. And what's coming through their ear gate is already being processed in a way for them to respond back, so they're not really paying attention anyway. So when you're trying to have a conversation with someone, regardless of their role, okay, whether it's a client, student, child, spouse, parent, okay, sibling, whatever, whenever you are having conversations with someone, make sure that it is an exchange, which we're going to talk about in just a second. Make sure it is an exchange, but that you are listening to learn, to gain an understanding, to pay attention, and not just simply listening to give a response. Because as soon as you start preparing your response, honey, you are no longer listening, like, at all. So we just talked about really briefly, like, what active listening is. It is making sure that, hey, I'm here. I am literally here. I'm listening to you. I'm paying attention. And sometimes by paying attention, you might think that I'm not listening to you because I'm not giving you feedback, but I'm actually respecting you by listening intently, so that later I can be able to process as needed and respond if necessary. All right, let's go over here. Kelia says, so true. Jerome Marquise Miller Sr. says, hey, hello. Thank you for joining us as we're talking about conversational communication today. All right, so now the next thing that we want to talk about are some tips to improve conversational communication. Like, what is it? Like, how can I improve? How can I go from just like listening to respond, like being ready, being prepared to give an answer? How can I go from that to actually learning and processing the information in a way that, like, now I'm useful to the person who's actually communicating with me, whether it is a superior or whether it is a colleague or whether it is someone who looks up to me. So what are some tips? How can I be able to communicate better in conversations? Well, the first thing that I need you to know is that communication, conversation, and contact are just different. Okay, they're very, very different. And I have to make sure that you understand this is noteworthy. Contact is not conversation. Contact is not conversation. Again, as I said in the beginning, we live in a very digital world. This is the 21st century. Everything we do just about is digitized. Okay, so because we're so attached to our devices, and because we've become so accustomed to digital communication, we've become crippled with actual human interaction. Okay, we have become, listen, I'm gonna say it again, we have become crippled with human interaction that it's kind of weird. And so the only way that we're able to really connect with people is on a phone or behind a computer screen. Nah. Okay, we have to improve that. Like, how can we go from being this, extrovert on the internet to actually being someone where in person, I feel like we can have an intelligent conversation. Okay, but you have to understand that it happens in stages. It definitely happens in stages. But one thing to know is that contact is not a conversation. Just because you send me a message, and I am getting ready to get on, some of my mentees back in China, because they also tune in, watch the replay. But I'm about to get on some of their foots and toes. I'm about to step all over them. Sending me a message saying, hey, how are you? Every time we talk. I just talked to you yesterday. What do you mean, how are you? Unless there was an update, I'm the same way that I was the last time we talked. Listen, reaching out. I got to put that up there again. Reaching out. Honey, contact is not conversation. Okay? I feel like Kelia's with me on this. And also, I'm going to go ahead and just take a moment to pause. If this is benefiting you, I definitely invite you to share this video, share this live. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much again for tuning into the replay. I invite you to share this because there are some people that you know. There are some clients that you don't want to tell directly, like your communication is horrible. You don't want to tell them that. So you can just go ahead and slide this link, slide this video right over into their DMs, their messages. Say, hey, take a look at this. That could be your way of telling them, hey, you need to be better at communicating. But listen, contact is not conversation. Y'all, listen, every time. And it usually happens with my international loves. I love you guys so much, but you know that bothers me so much. When you send a message, hey, how are you? But we just had a conversation. Like, why are you asking me how I am? Or why are you saying, hey, again? Like, what? Stop doing that. Or when someone sends a message and they just say, hi. Hello. Listen, Grey's Anatomy, it was cute when when Meredith and Dr. McDreamy, they would be like, hi. That's cute, but it's still in person. Don't send me that in a text message. Don't send me that in an email. Don't IM me. Don't DM me. Hi, hello. We need some follow-up information, because if I just see that one small greeting, hi, how are you? This is not an important conversation. You just reached out to me. That's it. Where's the follow-up? Okay. So again, contact, honey, is not communication. Contact is not communication. Okay. Let's take a look at some ways that we can improve, because that's the thing. Like you have to learn how to improve. Okay. Let's take a quick look over here at the comments. Someone, Corey D. Butler. Hi. You know, Corey, y'all, that's my brother. I'm not even going to, I'm going to have to edit this because you're testing me. And Kelia, guilty. Yes. Hi, how are you? The same way I was the last time we talked. Listen, with greetings, find various ways of saying the same thing and use them. Okay? Trick of the trade, people. Instead of saying, hey, hi, hello, or always saying good morning. Listen, I know when you're dating, like saying, oh, she sent me a good morning text, or he sent me a good morning text. A couple years later, if that same good morning is that's all you have to say, stop sending me good morning text. Stop sending me good evening text if you don't have additional words to follow. Okay? Good morning. Morning. like I don't even want to put good in front of it. I'm morning. Where's the rest of your words? Like, what is happening? I mean, yes, it's nice to feel like, oh, someone's thinking of me, that they contacted me. Okay, but many of you know I'm very driven. Okay, I am a driven person, so I work on different projects. I'm working on tasks. Not to mention, I teach on a university level. Like, you're just gonna send me hi, hello, good morning, good evening, how are you? I have to stop doing everything I'm doing just to respond good morning, hello. Because if I say, hey, how can I help you? Now you're gonna be like, oh, I just wanted to say hey. Respect my time. I'm gonna respect yours. So let's experiment. Let's experiment and try some different ways of saying the same thing. Instead of saying hi, hello, good morning. Okay, Russell Taylor says, hey, y'all trying it. Y'all are spirits, okay? Instead of just saying, hey, hi, good morning, hello, let's actually be intentional about it, right? Let's put some feeling behind it. Let's put some energy behind it a little bit. Hey, powerthesaurus.com, one of my favorite tools that I've been using since I was in my master's program. Powerthesaurus.com. Type in a few phrases, see what extra stuff comes on. Go to Google and say, what are some other ways to say good morning? What are some other ways to say hello? Go outside of the country if you want to say top of the morning to you, okay? Whatever it is. Just try to be different, because if you continue to do the same thing over and over again, it's going to seem like you're not intentional. It's going to seem like you're not trying to improve your communication. Okay. Next thing, questions. Whew, this one right here, questions. Use open-ended questions instead of closed-ended questions. What is an open-ended question? For all of my educators, you all know this because I'm sure you use this with your students all the time. An open-ended question leaves room for a response that's more than one word. Okay? A closed-ended question, you just answer yes, no, maybe, okay. That's it. Okay? So, how are you? Fine. How are you doing today? Fine. Not good. Not bad. I mean, okay, let's get some more open-ended questions here, okay? What do you have on your schedule today? Because look, here's the thing. If someone says, are you busy today? Yes. Are you busy today? No. What's on your schedule for today? I can't say yes or no to that. If I say, what's on your schedule for today? I can't say yes. What? That doesn't... You're not answering my question. Okay, so you want to ask open-ended questions in conversations so that you give the person a chance to actually respond with something that they can say more than just one word. Okay? You feeling okay today? That's a suggestive question. So if I'm feeling okay, I'm going to say yeah. Or if I'm not, I'm going to say nah. No, I'm not. Okay, Sam, how are you feeling? Good, bad, so. Find ways to ask open-ended questions, because it's going to show that you're being intentional about the conversation, right? You want to be intentional about the conversation. Okay, next thing, responses. Listen. Now, I'm not even gonna lie. Let me bring my face up real quick. I'm not even gonna lie. Sometimes I'm guilty of this. Sometimes I am guilty of this, okay, depending on my mood and how busy I am, okay, depending on my mood and how busy I am. But here's the deal, okay, with responses. When you give short responses, okay, if someone sends you, Kelia said, yeah, if someone sends you a message, right, and you're going on and they're talking and you're giving short responses like, oh, okay, yeah, not bad. Okay, first of all, that emoji is the face that I'm giving. Like, do you not want to talk to me? I mean, are you too busy right now? Like, okay, I can talk to you later or never. I mean, it's okay if you're just going to give short responses. I mean, I'm sitting here and it looks like I'm writing out a dissertation. We're going to talk about long responses in a moment. But I'm writing out a full conversation and I go back and I scroll and I see you only have 2 words, 3 words, 4 words. The maximum amount of words in your sentence comes to 4 or 5 words. You must not be able to have an intelligent conversation. I'm just saying, maybe you're not able to have an intelligent conversation. If you're busy at the time, the responsible and respectful thing to do is to say, hey, I would love to continue having a conversation with you at this time. However, I'm busy with XYZ, or I'm a little tied up right now. What is a better time that I can reach back out to you? That one thing, and some of you might be like, oh, that's so much to say. If you really care about the relationship or the friendship or about the client, about the student, if you really, really care, you will go the extra step just to say, hey, now is not a good time to talk, but I'm still interested in talking to you. It's just not a good time right now, right? So let's go back to this. So we have these, we have short responses, now long responses. Okay, I'm guilty. This is where I'm extra guilty. Obviously, because I'm a communicator, but I'm also a conversationalist, okay? So when we are talking, when we're having a conversation, I'm going full on like interview mode. We're talking, there's an exchange, like I'm expecting you to respond. And if I'm asking you questions they're not like invasive questions, they're just simple, questions about whatever the content is about, whatever we're talking about. And your responses are, short, and I have all of these long responses, then okay, somewhere in my mind, it should trigger, hey, maybe this person is busy, or maybe this person is simply not interested in having a conversation at this time. Now, depending on what type of mood you may be in, you could take offense to that if someone doesn't respond to you. But something that I have learned over the years is that when I'm communicating with someone, or I'm trying to have a conversation with someone digitally, and they do not respond right away, it's not necessarily meaning that they're ignoring me. Maybe they're just busy. Right? The respectful thing will be they'll respond sometime later. Hopefully it won't be 24 to 48 hours later, because then, it will start messing with you psychologically. Okay, well, I clearly sent a message and you didn't respond back. Like, but I see you posting on social media, or but I see you posting on Instagram, or but I see you, responding. That's a little disrespectful, and it does make people not want to talk to you anymore. Okay, it does make people not want to check up on you when you're sick, or check up on you if you have a death in the family, or check up on you, when you're traveling or whatever. Those people who you don't want to take for granted, the people who do reach out to you and communicate with you, because if you do, they won't be there. Like, eventually they'll wisen up and be like, oh, okay, my communication with this person is not valuable enough for them to, first of all, reciprocate it, and then secondly, give it back. So I'll just remove myself. And that's how people think. Well, people who are not, just like drawn to abuse, because that is a form of abuse. You're taking someone for granted and they're trying to be there for you. But if I'm sitting there typing all of these long messages and I see that no one is responding back, that should be an indicator to me, okay, let me shorten my messages a little bit, because maybe it's too much information. Maybe it's too much data for them to process. And I'm asking like a whole bunch of different things. So maybe I should just, shorten it up a little bit so that I can give them some time to respond. Okay. The other thing is delayed responses. That emoji clearly expresses how most people feel when there's a delayed response. If someone sends you a message, and this, oh my God, this definitely applies to the workplace as well. But if someone sends you a message and you don't respond right away, I mean, I get it. You are not obligated. You are not obligated to respond immediately if you are busy doing something else. Now, I'm not talking about you just watching TV, or you scrolling Facebook, or you scrolling social media, or you playing a game, or you're doing something. Obviously, if you're driving, or if you're exercising, or if you're cooking, or if you're spending time with family, that's a different story. But if someone sends you a message, just to check up on you, or they're trying to have a conversation, and you are free, like you have some time to be able to respond, but you choose not to, just put it, I always do this. I put myself in the other person's shoes. Like, okay, if someone sends me a message and, I have time to respond, okay, I'm going to respond right now, because apparently they're free and they're available to talk. So let's go ahead and talk on their schedule. However, if I'm not able to communicate with them at that time, I will respond. But I try to make sure I do not go longer Then either the day, like if someone sends a message early in the morning, I'll try to make sure I respond before the evening, before I lay it down. Okay. Or if someone responds in the afternoon or the evening and I can't get to them before the next day, I try to make sure that there's no longer than 24 hours to go by. Now, if 24 hours go by and the person does not respond, me or anyone else does not respond, they just do not want to talk. And that's okay. That's okay. But if it's repetitive pattern, if it's something that continues to happen, then you may want to consider not sending them messages often, because then you're going to walk away feeling like you're undervalued, like you're not appreciated, or like, you're stalking someone or bugging them out, and you don't want to do that, so just some little tips right there. Okay, now those are delayed responses. Now, what about the people with no response? Woo! The no response people. On behalf of the long response people, we don't like that. on behalf of the conversationalists, on behalf of the people who actually like to communicate, we don't like that. Okay, if we're sending a message to you and you do not respond back, I don't, unless you died, you need to respond. Unless you died or got into a bad accident, God forbid if any of that happens, but you need to respond, because that's just the level of respect, right? You should give respect the same way that you would want to receive it. And I know some people, they don't even consider that being disrespectful to not respond to a message, but it is, okay? Think about a client. Think about a boss, a manager. Think about, you as a CEO sending out messages to your employees. Think about students. Like, I know you saw that message about the homework assignment. Did you not think that I needed you to respond back? Unless I say no response required, respond. Okay? Colleagues, those no response people, shame on you. Shame on you, because you have some time within 24 hours to respond. Okay? It doesn't have to be within 24 seconds, but it definitely should be within 24 hours. So make sure you respond. Okay? So the thing is, you need to find a happy medium to use that matches the flow of the conversation. Like I said before, like if, if I'm sending a whole bunch of messages and I'm noticing that the other person isn't responding yet, okay, maybe I need to lessen up my messages. Maybe I shouldn't be responding with such long messages or multiple messages. I need to find that happy medium. If someone is responding shortly, okay, well, all right, I'm okay. I can do the same if we're just going to have a short conversation. But if that's the case, then what's the point of us communicating? What's the point of us talking, right? So find a happy medium to use that matches the flow of the conversation. So, all right, we're down to the very end. This is my communication challenge for you. Are you ready? Now, I have two different parts of this, because we have some people who they're very conversant. They can talk and listen and everything. They're really good with it, right? But they maybe focus more on the speaking as opposed to listening. Well, I have a communication challenge specifically for you. I want you to practice active listening with your client, student, significant other, your child or children, your friend, family member, whoever, okay? Instead of listening to respond, meaning instead of listening, hearing what they're saying, and then preparing a response, stop. Listen to truly hear what they are saying and be open to what that person may say, okay? Don't come in the conversation having an answer. Don't come into the conversation being ready to respond, okay? Not every situation calls for an immediate response. Sometimes people just need you to listen. And then also, you need to use wisdom in your responses, because wisdom will hopefully show you the right manner to respond, okay? And the right words. So, that's my challenge for you. I'm going to put it up again so you can see it. My challenge for you is to practice active listening with your client, student, significant other, children, friend, family member, whatever, And instead of listening to respond, I want you to listen to truly hear and be open to what they may say. Now, there are those of you who you can listen all day, every day. As a matter of fact, you're just a sponge. You just soak up everything, right? You just soak up everything, but you don't really converse. You don't really converse at all. So my challenge for you is to practice conversing with your, whether it may be a client, student, significant other, children, friend, family member, whomever. And instead of just simply speaking or talking, like we said before, putting together learned words and expressions, intentionally show interest in the content and other participant in the conversation. Okay? This is my challenge for you. I want you to practice conversing with some, and it may seem like it's a little weird at first because you're like, oh, okay, we're just going to sit here and talk. Yeah. Yes. You might be surprised at how the other participant feels simply at the notion that you want to sit down and talk. You want to sit down and share your parts of your life, right? You want to sit down and share your day. And I'm not talking about doing this, digitally through text message or anything like that. I mean, just this can go for phone conversations as well. But the thing that you must pay attention to is making sure that there is a conversant exchange. What I mean by that is you speak, the other person listens, they speak, you listen. Back and forth, okay? Make sure that there are two, if it's only two of you, or if it's a group, oh gosh, in a group setting, it gets to be even more difficult, but you have to make sure that it's a two-way street, right? It's an exchange, not just one person doing all the talking and one person just listening or pretending to listen while they're scrolling on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or, whatever, okay? Make sure that you are both intentionally, one is listening actively, the other is speaking, okay? The other is talking, conversing. All right, then I want you to share your results on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn and tag me, okay, at DrCharityTV. Or if you don't want people all up in your business, you can DM me. I will say I'm trying to get a little bit better with responding to messages. I have so many messages on Facebook, it's really sad. But because I don't have Facebook Messenger on my phone, I specifically took it off. I only have it on my iPad. So I will, if you send me a message, I will look at it and I want to know your results. Like, this is exciting. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you that you are doing better. So make sure you share those results. Hey, I tried it and, I got a better understanding for what conversation is supposed to be like, especially us millennials. Oh, my goodness. Whew. I didn't know how bad it was until I dated someone that was older than I am. And I would be on my phone all the time. I have drastically changed how much I use my phone since then. But I would be on my phone all the time trying to capture everything or trying to stay in the now. So, FOMO, fear of missing out. I want to see what's going on in everybody's stuff. And I got to post everything. I got to share my entire life, like every waking moment. And I wasn't being able to be with that person in the now, in the present, having conversation. I was aloof. I wasn't even there, So you want to make sure that when you're doing these challenges, whether you're the one that's going to be listening or the one that's going to be sharing, make sure that it's intentional. Okay? Make sure it's intentional. If they don't have their phone out, put yours away. Okay? Put your phone away. It's okay. Your phone's not going to get up and walk away and say, you ain't used me, I'm gone. It's not going to do that, okay? Be intentional about sharing your life, people, sharing business ideas with your clients if it's going to take them to the next level, if it's going to take them, to the solution that they're looking for. Be intentional with your conversation, okay? So, this has been Conversational Communication with Dr. Charity C. Campbell. Hopefully this has been of some value to you in some way. And you can always check me out on Facebook. Our page is facebook.com/DrCharityTV page, or you can also check us out on Instagram at DrCharityTV, Twitter at DrCharityTV, and then LinkedIn, you can just look for Dr. Charity C. Campbell. That's all I have for you all today. Thank you once again for tuning into Conversational Communication on this wonderful Monday, and I will see you all next week. Bye-bye.